Welcome to the Leftover Rewatch. We're almost done with season 2.
Thank God, what horrible television. Go ahead.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. A little on the dark side, maybe a little
season 1-y?
Yeah, it was not. It was more of a setup for what's going to happen in the finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we did get some answers. I think Meg's overreacting a little bit from her mom's death, but that's just me. I'm just trying. We all react differently. So, but I just the whole time I'm going, really, Meg, really.
It was a tough episode to analyze.
Yeah.
It's like saying it's the worst episode in the best season of TV. So that's still like an 8. You know what I mean? Like, you've just gotten through No Room at the End, Lens, a most powerful adversary, international assassin. Right?
Which Ro hated.
Which Ro, obviously, at the end of that, we figured out she hated it.
She completely detested it.
She didn't watch it. She didn't take any notes, and she hated it.
I don't know if she's in the chat, but I thought it was funny.
She whips out her Santa Claus list of notes and just kept on going.
I have some comments about that list later on, but we'll save it for after we review this episode.
If there's like a little, I'm not mad at the dip, especially with the last 10 minutes of the episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Liv Tyler's performance in general. So.
Yeah, I mean it's. I'll continue on what Ethan's saying. You can't really criticize any of these episodes, right?
Well, you can. It's not Russia. You can do whatever you want.
But it's like from a logical standpoint, from what he said. I mean, this is these are all really. Let me put in perspective. If you took this episode and transplanted it to most TV shows, it would be one of the 2 best episodes of the entire season, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But in a relative basis, and I don't even think there was anything bad about this episode. It's just very difficult to analyze.
Well, you had no Nora, no Kevin. Mm-hmm. None of the really, I don't want to say main characters, but you didn't have the meat and potato characters. You had the dressing.
To me, it's kind of like the bookend to the Lori and Tommy episode because it's the Meg and Tommy episode, right?
And they really want us to hate Lori, don't they?
Maybe, but but I would say I'm guessing that this was a very difficult episode to write because there were a few things that they're trying to say about Meg, and I don't think that even came out very clearly. And they tried different rhetorical and storytelling devices to kind of hammer home a few facts about her, but it still wasn't clear to me after watching it twice.
Also, the writers, you got to remember too, didn't know if there was going to be a season 3, so they're trying to wrap the story up where there's a conclusion, and as we'll see in the final episode, it could have ended.
Yeah,
and I think I know I said at the time I was satisfied if that's how it ends.
Oh, so let me ask the group a question before we go into recap. Who here, after watching this episode now, I don't know how many times you guys have watched it before, but who here feels like after watching just this episode, they understand Meg better or understand her worse?
Better, for sure.
I understand her better. It's not saying that she's... I mean, you understand her insanity better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she loses it. I mean, she goes... Again, when you lose a loved one, it's never easy, and we all react differently.
Right.
But like I said, I probably wouldn't have taken her approach. That's me.
To me, if I think about everything we saw about Meg season 1, and there wasn't that much, it was a bit more well organized. And in this episode, she was literally all over the place. So I watched this a second time just to try to understand her better. And besides, the simple analysis of dealing with the grief of her mother and what Matt had already hinted at in terms of your grief was hijacked, I feel like there's so much in this episode that's all over the place that I can't pin her down.
Well, what makes her because I would say she's a bad person and she's doing bad things, but Liv Tyler is so soft-spoken that her being forceful and her being normally it wouldn't work.
Right.
because you'd be like, okay, this person's they got a mousy, they're kind of a mousy. There's no way, but she's so. What do I want to say? She has that dead look in her eyes. I mean, she just has that look like you better do what I'm going to say, or you're going to die.
It's really, and she's really scary in this episode. And Liv Tyler's really good at being really scary in this episode.
For someone who's like, again, okay, Tommy, right? Okay, it's just I can't do her impression, but she's. When I was watching, I was like going, "Why are people afraid of her?" I go, "Well, you look. She doesn't blink. She just has that look like this is what we're going to do, and if we don't do it." You're gonna get stoned to death.
And also, and also, like, how does she, like you said, in terms of that soft-spoken voice, but somehow still, like, everywhere she goes in this episode across the U.S., she has a bunch of people who just like follow her just at
Well, she took a cult and took the extremists out of the cult, and now the extremists are following her.
Yeah.
So she took, you already had people who were followers, right? That's what a cult is. And then you take the worst people, the people that, we got to rape and pillage. We got to burn the town down. We got to do that. This is what has to happen.
Right.
You can't do this silent crap or like when she was, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Got it. Okay. Sorry. We jumped ahead. Apologies.
We just like to say that this is not my least favorite episode of the season, and I really found a lot of strong connections. So it actually is throwing me way off that Eckhart's saying what he said.
So you're pushing back.
Yeah, I'm going to do push back.
Wait, I didn't say it was a bad episode.
No. I'm just saying in terms of your, about your analyzation of the character. And you having trouble with that?
Yeah, I mean,
you had mentioned that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. I mean, I might have to watch a few more times, and actually map some of the stuff out, because there is a lot of stuff that's almost contradictory, and we'll get into it as we go through the recap.
All right, we start out. Meg has a cold. That's what I'm assuming. She has a cold. Oh no, she's doing some coke. At first you're thinking, okay, this is Meg, sweet Meg, but no, she's doing some coke, and she's having lunch with her mom. Now, her mom said she has 8 cats, and 8 cats are enough.
Well, that's obviously not true.
Nobody gets it?
No. She's not in the script.
She was in Cats, and she was also in 8 is Enough.
Who was she in Cats? Who is this actress? Betty Buckley?
Betty Buckley was the...
Okay. She's Grisabella, right?
I don't know, but I never saw her.
Yeah, it's Grisabella. Grisabella sang Memory in Cats, man. All right.
She's the one that sings Memory.
Grisabella.
Right. And she was also... You guys remember the show 8 is Enough?
No.
Vaguely.
Okay, well, she took over for someone who died.
Oh,
and came into the scene. Anyway, I thought... Come on, someone out there in the chat has to be old enough. Where's Randy? I thought that was going to be pretty good, but I guess, oh well. They talk about the boots. Well, she sends the salad back, and that's key later on.
Mm-hmm.
And because first I'm like, does she have dementia, the mom, or did she forget to say? Because just the way they were talking at first, it kind of seemed like her. But there's some friction there, right, between the mom and Meg.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Laura remembers 8 is Enough. Go.
I would say something about doing illicit substances while you're going to see your mother, but since I found out last week, my mother watched this whole episode, watched the whole International Assassin episode, and has the hots for Eckhart. I can't say what I would normally say right here.
So you can't
about difficult relationships with parents and doing drugs while you're talking to them. So
let me ask you this, Ethan.
Let me say it.
Ethan, I thought about you immediately in this scene because I wanted to know, does she actually do 2 separate lines of coke, or are those scenes actually supposed to mean just the one scene to the bathroom? Like, is she in the bathroom doing one line, and then she sits down, they have the conversation about wedding, and then she goes and does another line? Is it 2?
Technically, Eckhart, she's using a bumper, which is a long thing that has a little spoon on it. So she's not actually.
I thought she was doing it. I thought she did the lines at home, and then she gets I can't take my mom anymore. I need to go in the bathroom.
No. She did them in the bathroom at the restaurant. She went to sit down with her mom for 2 minutes, and then went to do more.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that she cannot like be around her parent or her mom and unless she is messed up or whatever. And you really understand that when you hear more from her mom and about how controlling she is.
And probably, well, we'll get to that when we get to it, but maybe that's what caused, not the death of her dad, but Elliot left after a year and I think Meg has some maybe daddy issues. This could be a lost episode where Elliot just couldn't take the mom anymore. Right.
We'll get to that's a good point.
You know what they say. You know what they say about cocaine. Sometimes 8 is not enough.
But here's the thing. For us as watching this, these 3
I've never
minutes.
done cocaine, so I don't.
At the 3 minutes,
never
of their conversation over lunch, was the mom really that bad? I mean, she seemed like just a regular mom to me.
Well, I think. We don't really, she didn't seem that pushy to me.
I mean, she seemed pretty nice.
But sometimes mother-daughters don't get along, it's that.
There's a passive-aggressive pattern I noticed there where she offered to pay for the wedding immediately, but then also, mentioned the shoes.
The boots,
the passive-aggressive mentioning of the shoes. Right. And since Megan is already doing what she has to do in the bathroom to get through it anyway, it can't make it any better.
Right.
Go
ahead, Ethan. Go ahead, Kelp. Yep.
I was just gonna say I found her mom, despicable from the get-go. I think that I think that there's several instances where her mom is very passive-aggressive, like you said, Ethan. I feel like she's I feel like you can gather this from the scene. She's very manipulative. Well, they talk about money. Well, no, I bought you those boots. That's been in her mind ever since they bought the boots. She's not let that go. She didn't let that go. That's ridiculous. And now she's wanting to offer to pay for the wedding. She's wanting control.
She wants to control what happens at the wedding.
Yeah,
everything about it.
Right. And Meg knows how she is and obviously doesn't want to deal with it. And that's why she's in the position she's in. But I was able to, pick up on even the ladies don't pee comment. We don't
say pee.
Right. Yeah. So
they say
it's like
piss.
I feel like it's a typical you were raised to be prim and proper. And that's not Meg. Meg is, relentless. And so I think that her mom is not nice. And I think it was subtleties to pick up in that scene, not necessarily the things the mom said.
I like it. I give you 10 points for that.
Oh, thanks.
Why don't you just give him 8?
Because 8 is not enough.
You get -8. Yeah, that's right, Jack.
Especially when it comes to points.
Yeah, when you're all right, are you complaining?
No. I was trying to avoid making another drug joke. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, she writes a check, and I'm like, who the hell writes a check anymore? But it's October 3rd. She goes, don't date it for October 13th. That's unlucky. Date it for October 14th. We all know
pretty lucky for Meg. She didn't have to pay that money back.
And she got it back out of the state. So.
Well, I think I don't know. It was really expensive to cremate the mom. So there's that. But I was going to say something about what Jack had just mentioned regarding the check. So yeah, that was a very good indicator for me that Meg was like, nope, I'm not owing you any money. If you're going to bring that up, I'm paying you right now. Like, she doesn't want any of that. She doesn't want the attachments. Mom, she doesn't want to be under her thumb at all.
No, Mom.
So
I'll write you a check.
Is Bergdorf still a thing?
Is what?
In the New York area, it is.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said.
Bergdorf's. The
Bergdorf Goodman.
The department store where she got the shoes.
Oh, okay.
By the way, that comment signaled to me that they were pretty well to do, right?
Right.
That, and the boots $400, and so.
But when her mom asked for 2 pieces of identification, I thought that was a little
weird.
Out of line. But Meg has to pee, and she orders a Coke.
Yep.
Right? Because then when she goes in there, she's doing the Coke. She comes out, and her mom is having a heart attack. They're doing CPR on her. I think the mom did this on purpose.
Totally.
Just to mess with Meg some more.
No, probably not. She probably didn't choose to die at that moment to mess with her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she was choking on a walnut. We'll
Walnut.
never know. That was one slip by. I wouldn't want walnuts on my salad either.
What if it's a Waldorf salad?
And to her, I feel like if she was allergic to walnuts, there would have been a little more like, oh gosh. And the way it was done, it was almost like, can you remove this? You know what I mean? There was that little bit of doubt, like she could have an allergy, but she also could just be a bitch.
Well, she was trying to be nice, or was she being passive aggressive to the waitress?
Well, there you go. There's a pattern already, like Ethan established.
But how would you? I mean, I try to be nice when I go, hey kid, I didn't order this. Can I get? I wanted this. I try to be nice when I do it. I don't get mad and throw a fit. And I thought she was as pleasant as she could be.
But there's Jack. You're a type of personality, okay? And I'm going to put Roe in this category too. You guys are genuinely nice people, and when people are being passive aggressive toward genuinely nice people, sometimes they don't pick up on it. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
You're saying I'm not a nice person because I pick up on the passive aggressive, and they are nice people because they don't pick up on the passive aggressive.
I wasn't saying you personally are a bad person, and that's how you do it.
Let's get this straight. I'm nice until you push me to a point,
and then it's just aggressive.
Then I'm at. There's no passive aggressive.
Yeah, there's no passive aggressive.
I'm like in your face. And
here's why her mom was not as bad as some people here are making her out to be. Because when Meg pushes back, I'll tell you why. When Meg pushes back, the mom doesn't get upset. She just kind of brushes it off.
But I think
you don't see any change in demeanor.
But I think that's her. I think that's how she can.
Because passive aggressive would then get upset.
Well, okay, then her not showing emotion is part of her game plan.
Well, she's not sitting in some bat cave trying to manipulate all this stuff. She's happy to see her daughter and wants to help her out.
Yes, but sometimes
no.
She does. No. If she didn't want to help her out, she wouldn't be offering these things.
She's not doing it for her. She's not doing it for her daughter, though. That's the point that the scene's trying to make. She's doing it for herself.
That's your interpretation.
Okay.
Wow.
No, seriously. It's
aggressive.
Okay.
Because my interpretation is more about Meg not being able to differentiate between when people are being nice to her and when she thinks there's something else going on, right?
But I think she grew up with her mom, obviously. Right. And I think the mom, I agree with Caleb about the wedding, because when most people want to pay for a wedding, what do? They want to control what happens. I mean,
but most people's parents pay for their wedding in this country.
Yes.
So that's the standard, and you guys are making it sound like it's something that somebody wants to control their children. But
she's the I guess the father's not there, so
yeah.
I can see what Eckhart's saying a little bit, simply because the father isn't there, the father isn't around, and I can also see Meg pushing back specifically because she doesn't want anyone to have any control except her.
Right.
But I also see 100% what Caleb is saying.
Or does Meg deep down not want to get married?
I'm sure that's part of it.
Yeah. Because even after the mom's gone, she keeps pushing it off, right? The reason why I'm getting adamant here, first of all, is because this mom is a lot nicer than my mom. So I'm projecting a little here.
I think there's a lot of that going on right now.
So, but the point is that I also don't want us to think that we're as a group insinuating that whatever issues Meg has are because of her mother.
Nobody said that.
It could be possible that her mother has some of an impact like that, but it's almost like this is just kind of a small scene here.
But what about the boots? Because Caleb, I thought, made a good point about the boots. That the mom couldn't let it go about the boots. She had to keep bringing it up, kept bringing it up. Now, was she saying, God, this is going to be a 10-hour show. The reason when she's saying it was because she just, all right, you don't want me to pay for your wedding, but you're okay to take the boots. Or is this just brilliant? Is this just brilliant writing by Lindelof, by the Lindelof team?
Just to throw us all off.
That we're talking about this little throwaway scene. Well, it's not.
And we've seen the show before. We know for a fact that after this, we.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the exact lines about the boots are Meg says, "I can't let you pay regards the wedding," and the mom says, "Why not? I treat you all the time. I treated you to those boots. What boots? Those boots you saw at Berghoff's. I didn't have my wallet, and I said I'd pay you back." Well, that was March. This is October. Okay, that line was annoying.
You know, there's a big through line here with money too when it comes to Tommy and Lori.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
that's a good point.
And it stretches into season 3 as well. So,
all right, so we're just gonna agree to disagree right now on.
Yeah. I don't even know who I'm agreeing or disagreeing with. So.
It makes mom.
That's why I said this episode is really confusing.
All right, but she comes out the mom, and of course the mom dies right from it. So that now they're on a bus. It's Meg and her fiance. I can't. What's his name? I couldn't find his name.
Guy.
It just says Meg's fiance in the credits.
Guy.
By the way, for half of season 1, Jay thought Meg's fiance and Nora's husband were the same person.
I want to say Finnerty. I want to say his name
that.
is Finnerty of some kind.
I do remember that. So they're on the bus, what's the song when it rains?
Wade in the water.
Wade in the water because it rains in the water.
Way in the water.
Whatever it is, I couldn't figure out, but it was a happy song. But they're taking a bus into Miracle.
Leftovers Redcon. Let's go.
So we're like going, what's up with this? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And we get that same park ranger,
right?
That we've seen the whole time.
Yeah. Well, they only have one. He and the fiance says, "I'm not taking the audio tour." Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So, but I like how they talk. They go to the part where the crack in the street. Right. We talked about that before. There was a gas explosion that sent manhole covers flying. Mm-hmm. Where else did we see a manhole cover fly?
In Mapleton.
Yep. Mapleton. So
day of the departure.
Was there something about gas underground that could be linked to the departure?
They're definitely insinuating that. We have 2 data points.
But there's also, I just want to point out before we go past it, there's no welcome center at this point.
Yeah.
Well, it's only been a couple months.
Yeah. The pillar guy is still there.
Yeah.
And Cecilia is reading what's next.
I thought it was 2 years after the departure.
No, that was 2 months after the departure.
2 months.
No, it might be a couple. They've only been up and running for a couple months.
Right, but how long after the departure was it?
2 years.
2 years, right?
Was it 2 years? Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
They stop at a house, and Meg goes, "The guy can help me." And he goes, "Come on, Meg, geez, you've been to how many of these things? They're all fake." And da. This guy's supposed to be the real deal. And so at this point, we all know it's Isaac, right?
Yep.
So
he just started doing readings.
Yes. She goes in to see Isaac. She goes, "Do I have to do a handprint?" No, that's just for people that want to know what's going to happen in their future. And then Isaac gives Meg something to chew on. Do we know what that is? Anybody?
No.
She goes, "I usually just put this stuff up my nose, but I guess I can chew it."
I do like the contrast between her offering like the sweater, and he's like, "No, I don't need that, but I do need to put something in my hands that you chewed on."
And then he just lets her spit it out into his hand, like I do with my grandkids when they're choking on something. I just spit it out in my hand. And then Meg wants to know what her mom was going to tell her. Because remember, I forgot to bring that up. Meg's mom was going to tell a story. Remind me what it is when you come back. Of course, she's laying dead on the ground. Do we ever find out what it was?
Nope.
No.
Never do. And I have a theory that no matter what it was, her reaction would have been the same. no matter what. Because to me, it didn't look like her mother was about to throw off some uber piece of awesome information that she needed to know. You know what I mean?
Was it? Because she said it's. Did she say it was an important story? Important.
She's like, I gotta tell you something. Like she forgot. Like if it was that important, it would have been the first thing out of her mouth when they got to lunch.
Yeah, it's probably something about like one of our old classmates from high school or something like that.
Probably because you probably owe me for a pair of shoes too. Let's see, and then he goes, yeah. He goes, no matter what it is, it'll just be bullshit. Doesn't matter.
It'll be disappointing to you.
Yeah, disappointing. Yeah. And Meg doesn't. She goes, no, and she gets a little angry with him, right?
Yep.
And then he goes, she sent the salad back because of the walnuts.
Yep. And my reaction when I watched this time around was, as we watch Leftovers, we always think about duality in terms of like things that might be explainable versus things that are magical, right? And sometimes they can be either or, right? Like last week we discussed about International Assassin, if he was imagining it or if he actually died, right? You can't really say definitively one or the other. But this one I'm having a really hard time, explaining like in any logical way, right?
Well, I think like Laura said, let the mystery be in the chat.
Like Ethan, is there any magic trick in your brother's book that explain this?
Well, explain what exactly?
Like how he would know walnuts.
Because he saw the whole he knows the conversation that happened before she died. That's
so he's the real deal.
He is the real deal.
Because there's no way he could, because there was nothing in the conversation that was anything close to salad and walnuts.
He knew something bad was going to happen to John. And something bad did happen to John. He knows. He is the real deal. He told her when we weren't in the room, and it was something like, your friend Mary Lou from high school got pregnant. Or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It was some form of gossip. It wasn't anything earth-shattering, and Meg put all her hopes and dreams on it being some important piece of information.
Okay, how would he know about walnuts?
Because he knows the whole conversation.
He's the real deal.
He's the real deal.
You're saying that he does have some sort of psychic ability.
Yes.
There's no scientific explanation. Like
no.
Logical. The only explanation is through some sort of form of magic or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Caleb?
I think it's possible that there are multiple psychics, just like a cult, just like there's multiple members of the GR all around the world, and I think that the psychic community could also be all around the world. And who knows? Maybe one was there in the restaurant. Maybe people know the story. Matt surely has been telling a lot of people about the story in the restaurant. So,
good point.
That's a good point. I like that. Give him a lot of points.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Matt's got a big mouth.
But yeah, it's a good point that like if they're communicating with each other and they've actually like collected all the information about this event just through her visiting all the other psychics. I like that.
But it doesn't actually make sense, like Ethan said, because he knew that something bad was going to happen to John, and John's not necessarily a person that you say when he comes in for a reading that something bad's going to happen to him. You're going to say, oh, you're going to have good fortunes, because he knows how John is. So I don't know.
Because John controls the town. Why would anything bad happen to John? John causes bad things to happen, right?
I feel like we're waiting in the water.
Waiting in the water. He eventually tells her what it was, but we don't get to hear it.
Right.
Yeah. But she comes out and she goes, "Oh, he wasn't the real deal." But she seemed happier though, didn't she?
She's putting that face on for him.
Yeah.
She's mad. She's aggressive.
So she's mad at what he said.
Yeah.
So we have no clue. We have no theory on what he. No.
Evidently, it didn't lead to any closure. It probably made things worse.
Okay. And he knew it was going to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac. Sorry, I got the hiccups. All right, so Meg's sitting on a bench crying, smelling her mom's her sweater. She's crying. She's emotional. And who comes up to her? The always funny Evie. And she goes, here's a baby carrots. You can't cry when you eat them. All right, is that true?
I think I can cry while eating anything.
Because I've never heard that. I remember at the time I went, baby carrots.
That sounds like a cute thing, like a mom would say to a child.
Yeah,
eat the baby carrots. You can't cry while you're eating baby carrots. Tells a joke. What's one snowman say to the other one? It's pointless.
Yeah, or pencil. It's pencil, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Something. Snowman.
But
But
she takes the carrots, and they're going back and forth talking, and she goes, I don't know any jokes, but then Meg tells the joke about the knock joke, and it's about about the broken pencil, and there's no point. And Evie goes, Evie just doesn't have a sense of humor, does she? Does she?
Well, we know from this episode, Evie sucks. So
okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they show her here 2 years before, or who knows how much time before the current events, already seeming somewhat off, right?
Right.
Because, everything leading up to her, disappearance in episode 1 shows her being, pretty much outgoing, right? Almost like all-American girl, right?
Right.
And here we see like a totally different side already, right?
Randy's right about that.
Anyway, she said, but then Evie gets up and says, "I'm sorry you didn't find what you were looking for." No one
ever does
here. And then they get back on the bus, but then we get a twist. The bus stops because the GR are there, and Meg's leading the bus, and this is probably one of the more graphic scenes, I guess.
Before that, I thought there was, right as she's getting on the bus, where she spits on the ground.
Yeah,
I thought that was a very important scene because that really signifies, like, that to me is like the beginning of what we see for the rest of the episode, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the moment she really turns evil.
Well, after Evie says, "I'm sorry you didn't find what you were looking for," no one ever does. I think Meg is angry at that revelation, and she's understanding that herself, and that there's nothing special about this place. And now, later, now that she has higher up power, she wants to take it down.
Yeah. Plus, she was pissed that Evie didn't laugh at the joke, I think, right?
No,
because that always kills them, right? That the pencil joke always kills.
And maybe it was there's no ranch dressing for the baby carrots. Just gonna eat them raw.
What are you just gonna give me these carrots? What kind of masochist are you?
Yeah. But then she goes in the school bus. She takes the school bus driver out. Right, they drag him out, and then she tosses a grenade into these poor little kids. And then they put a crowbar or a bar across the door so they can't get out. I'm like going, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that has to be one of the more brutal scenes in this entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even though it doesn't blow up.
I mean, who thought it was going to blow up when they first saw it?
Oh, yeah.
I did.
The way they show her walking away, you think, okay, oh my God, she's going to kill these kids. Now, this is because... go ahead, Caleb.
I was just going to say it's like another form of psychological torture that when Nora went to her conference in season 1, somebody handed one to her, and she was like, "Oh, I thought this was," she for a moment there she thinks it's real until she's like, "This is," So, yeah.
I just thought, because now that the GR, I think they've instead of being irritating, they've become terrorist. I mean, that's a terrorist act, right?
Well, her wing.
Yeah, her wing, yeah. But it didn't go off, but I'm like going, those kids are going to be traumatized forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's making them remember the event.
Yeah. No, they're not remembering the event.
I was just about to say, like, it goes beyond, like,
the bus event.
Yeah, yeah. Then Meg goes to a house. Now I'm gonna assume this was her mom's house.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Anybody else?
I thought this was like a Guilty Remnant special big ass house for people to meet, because she had like one key to get in and knew exactly where to go. Because her mom's been gone a long time at this point, which doesn't mean that that's not necessarily her house. But I just thought, since the other GR people were there, that it was sort of like a headquarters top that was hidden in just an empty home.
That could be, but it was a big house. You know.
Yeah, no, never for one second. I think it was Meg's house. I thought it was just.
Oh,
I thought it was her mom's house.
Jack, you're just talking about the exterior, right? When she pulls up, right?
When she pulls up and then she's inside and it's obviously empty.
Yeah.
Because the GR don't have any belongings. But I don't know. My first thought was, I wonder if that's her mom's house.
By the way, it looks like they probably bought out an old like institution, right? So there was that parallel to, of course, Kevin's dream in season 1, right?
Right.
I always thought that it was just like, obviously a GR property from someone who came in GR and gave them the property.
mm-hmm.
But I didn't think it was necessarily.
Maybe that's what the mom was telling her. She knew in the future she was going to be a GR. No. Wasn't her mom wearing white?
No, blue.
All right, I tried. She sits down, and there's 3 other GRs there. Meg is talking because Meg doesn't believe in the whole silent thing. That's Patty's wing of the GR, and we know why Patty doesn't talk now. But they're writing down. She goes, "Just talk. Can't we just talk?" Mm. And they're not happy with Meg. They're okay with what she did with the dogs, right? Now, what did she do? Did I forget what she did with the dogs?
I don't think it's explained.
Okay.
No. It's just called the incident with the dogs, which makes it really, really ominous and creepy.
I mean, what more could she do with the dogs than what was Dog Killer was doing?
Did you see Empire Strikes Back? Tauntauns? That's all I'll say.
All right. And they asked her, they're not happy about the bus. Yeah, and she goes, well, if people need to remember, me just standing outside staring at them so they can come yell in my face is not helping. We need to go to the next level, right? That's basically what she said.
Yeah, I mean, and what she says in terms of like taking the cigarette and burning out their eyes, right? She says something like that. I mean, that's
what she wants to do.
Yeah, to me that signals like basically the full-blown sadist part of her, that in the bus.
Yeah, she's definitely gone to the dark side.
Like, you guys obviously understand psychology a lot better than I do from a professional academic standpoint. At this point in time, based on what she did with the bus and that comment, what would she be diagnosed as?
Hitler?
I was just going to say that, I mean, she is a part of a cult, and I feel like the rules of the cult are not adding up for her anymore. Just like she says, we can stone each other to death, but we're worried about the authorities coming our way.
Right.
I think she's taking the path of, all right, I'm going to go the path of there are no rules. I can kill people. I can, throw a grenade in a bus. It doesn't matter. I'm branching off on my own. I'm more powerful, blah, blah, blah. I think that's where the split's happening there.
Because she doesn't care if she dies or not, right? Is that where does she?
I don't know about right this second, but I just think that, right now she's wanting to step things up herself, and she's wondering why. She thinks that the cult she's in isn't doing enough, and therefore she's making her own cult almost, a more extreme version.
Right. But with the one girl, GR says violence is a weakness, and Meg says you're wrong.
Yeah.
So they're afraid of her, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're trying to control her, but they know they can't, because they say you're going to be at Dobbs Ferry, right, with your group, right?
And I'm going to need to hear you say it.
Yeah. Oh, we're painting signs and everything. You tell right then. She was like, "Oh, screw you! I'm not going to be at Dobbs Ferry."
I mean, it was strange to me that like they just kind of let her off the hook. I mean,
well, I think they're worried about losing members,
right?
And then what happens when you have a cult when they're fighting with each other,
right? Well, that's a schism, right?
Right.
This happens in every cult,
right?
Well, they asked
Meg. Go ahead.
They asked Meg if she was contacting other leaders of other houses. Right. Again, which means she already has. And so they're probably like, we can't take her out because then a lot more people are. They probably know that when Meg says that I have a lot of people that feel the same way, that she's telling the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be tough with her, but
ultimately they don't have any power.
No, they don't. What happens in anything? You always have that one or two people that say, okay, I can do this better.
It really sounded
better.
It really reminded me of a middle management at a retail store talking to a higher end salesman at the retail store. So it's like, I'm going to say these things to you, but I know, and I have absolutely no
control,
power to do anything to you.
Right. So, I mean, the purpose of the scene is just to show, I guess, how powerful she is, but also, like, what type of a sociopath she's turned into, right?
Right.
But like, it's not just one incident with the bus. Like, there's a pattern now, right?
Yeah. But like I said, the whole thing was she's talking. They don't want to talk. They still want to write down on notepads and stuff like that, where she's like, going, this is pointless. Yeah. And I think she is right. I think I agree with Meg on that one. I don't get the whole silent thing.
But okay, so this is where, and I hinted at this at the beginning, where there's a lot of inconsistency in the sense that, she's talking, but some people in her group still write down. A few episodes later, they're still writing down, but they're part of her wing.
But she probably doesn't. Does she insist that they speak? I mean, the one time we'll get to it, but the guy starts writing. She goes, "No, just tell me."
Yeah, so it's like what we're seeing here, obviously, is that whatever she's developed is maybe GR in name, meaning like using those white clothes still sometimes, but it's basically now just a cult of personality, right?
Right. Well, I think
that's what we're getting towards, right?
Getting way ahead of herself when she says she tells Matt she's no longer part of the GR. She really isn't.
Yeah.
Right. It's her own cult now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like, it's a branch off of one cult. So people are going to be at different levels of being comfortable.
Right.
So if we still follow this, some of us are still need to, because we've been doing it for so long, have to, and it's a main tenet, we believe we're going to use the pads and the paper.
Right.
But some of them, don't. Some of them don't
wear. Plus,
them.
if you've been doing it for 4 years, not talking, and all of a sudden, someone tells you to speak, you're like,
right.
Well, I think if you want to break that scene down, when she goes to speak with all the other people, she's wanting to get the power. Like her mom, she's now wanting the control. So she wants to one-up them by forcing them to speak, in which she's already won.
Right.
And then later, she speaks and tells them to put down the notepad because there's an emergency, something's happened.
Right.
And so other than that, I still see them using it. And I feel like I feel like her close circle, they probably don't. But in that situation, it just felt like she did it as a power move. And that seemed like it was going to be a long, drawn-out thing. And she was going to have to just, the paper back and forth, and because they were getting on to her, essentially. So instead of listening to that, or instead of having to deal with all the paper and how long that would take, she got back the power herself and forced them to speak to her.
Well, the woman did she did kind of, because she said something, because we've lost 10 members and you were supposed to take care of that.
Right.
And she throws her a file, and it's Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
And the hug machine is taking people away from the GR because he can cure people with his hugs. I thought that was a good counter by the other GR to kind of throw it in Meg's face. Like, okay, you were supposed to take care of this situation. You didn't.
Yeah.
So was showing her. It was a little give and take, I thought, back and forth.
Well, I raped the guy and threw gasoline on him. What else do you want me to do?
Kill him?
Yeah. I don't know what.
All right, I'm going to backtrack on some of the stuff that I argued with Caleb about at the beginning of the episode. And that's because I'm thinking about this now. The way that she smiled and said, "Yes, I'll be there with my signs." That over-the-top saccharine response. Maybe she did inherit that from her mother.
She did.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 3 against 1, but that's okay.
I was trying to make a point, but it's okay. I'll do it at the end when it makes sense.
Anyway, she goes and Tommy's talking, he's speaking, he's doing the thing, and Meg shows up, and he kind of stops, but I'm going to keep doing what I have to do, and then he goes, "Who wants a hug? Who wants to feel better?" And there was someone collecting money. Who was collecting the money?
A helper.
Yeah, some hand off screen.
Yeah, but there was because I assumed it was Lori. We find out later on Lori was not there. Mother of the Year.
That premise.
No, but everybody wants a hug, and guess who wants a hug? Meg wants a hug, and he goes, "Meg, right?" or Megan, whatever he said. Then she whispers in his ear, "I can do this for real." So she believes she's Holy Wayne, right?
Is it that, or, and this is where, this is where the Tommy part of this episode begins, right?
Yeah.
Or is it that, what's that?
Yay.
Okay. Or is it that she recognizes his own weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
And that she's about to prey on it, right?
Well, there's a whole file on him. She probably read the file, and the file said that the mom, she knew that Lori was behind it.
More importantly, the file would say that this guy spent like 9 months at Holy Wayne's ranch.
Right.
So he's very much, susceptible to this type of stuff, right?
Right. I mean, we don't know exactly what was in the file, but I'm sure it had mentioned Lori and, like you said, Wayne's ranch and all that other stuff. So.
And his childhood.
Yeah, and his childhood. She knows, but also Meg knows that Lori was not a good mom.
Yep.
Right? She was right there for her. I mean, so she knows all about it. All of Tommy's pain and suffering, she knows was caused a lot by Lori. F you, Lori. So let's see. Yeah, that's why I wrote down who's collecting the donations. That bugged me because I couldn't. I don't know. They didn't tell us.
Well, Meg is not saying she can hug the pain away. She's saying that through the actions of this cult that I'm putting together, it can fill this void of pain you have.
Exactly.
Of which for Tommy seems to be a never-ending pile of shit because he is the whiniest little bee person in this episode.
Okay, can we be okay? Time out. His whole family's been destroyed. His mom is using him. I'm going to back.
But it was his idea.
Was it his idea?
It was his idea to hug people. It was, in fact, his idea.
But it wasn't his idea to take money from people and to do all that stuff.
Right. But he just seems like, Well,
at this point, I think when he decided to agree to do that, or even if it was his idea, he was trying to please his mom.
That's true.
Right?
But he still whined. He's still never satisfied at anything.
They both had a hand in it, and they both are conning people, and they both know better because they've both been conned. So that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm going to back Tommy up on this one. I feel bad for Tommy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure. Yeah. I'm just saying specifically in regards to what they're doing.
Right.
Exactly. They're both doing it.
Exactly.
I'm good on Tommy. I'm good. I've had enough. I'm all right. I'm ready to move on from Tommy. It's good.
No, but what's amazing is that we're going into the next season where Lori shows up and is all pissy, right? And he actually pushes back, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time he really gets into an argument with her, right?
Right.
Yeah. And she crosses that room to slap him.
Oh yeah.
It's not a slap, and then she takes the feeling. She holds onto it to get across that room and hit him.
He hit. I want to say below the belt. Everything he said, she deserved.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because Lori's mad at Tommy. We'll get to Lori's mad at Tommy because he wasn't at the next location. He goes, a little whiny there, wasn't he?
And this is the interesting thing is that, like, we've seen other scenes where, it's insinuated that, like, look, Lori, you left your family. Lori, you left your family. I'm not sure how it was said, but it doesn't really sink in when people insinuate that or tell that to her. But when he says it to her, that's when she slaps him.
Right, because he says your book didn't work. You pimp out your son so you could feel good again, so you wouldn't have to
run people over anymore. And then he says, so that you didn't have to feel bad about leaving your whole effing family.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, wow. I mean, that's what actually needed to be. She needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Because I think she knows. She's not stupid.
Yeah.
She knows she did all those things.
Right.
But for, like you said, I forget who said it, but for Tommy to say it.
Yeah. And the timing of all this is exquisite in the sense that this happens, on the same day, probably minutes or hours after he has that encounter with Meg again, right? And we forget that, or we don't forget, but what I hope the viewer didn't forget was that this is the first time Tommy's seen her since she basically raped him, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that was the additional power move over him. So he's incredibly messed up at this point in time.
Right. Plus, it looked in, and his mom has messed him up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Lori trampled all over those chairs to even slap him, and it just, I don't know, it just feels like obviously that struck a nerve to her, and like, where was that emotion when Jill was in trouble?
Yeah.
Where was that emotion? Whatever. It's all about Lori, and when he was telling the truth to her, she freaks out, and it's like,
because Lori's not a good person.
But we see what she was kind of going through when she shows up at Kevin's door, right? In Miracle,
right? Yeah. While she's so upset, but I mean, she deserves that guilt. She deserves to feel that way. I mean, she's the one who hit him, so
yeah. I mean,
and before that, he had every reason to not want anything to do with her because, like you said, you left the family. Yeah. So he's even still there, and she does that. So I imagine if she did that to Jill would never be in the same room with her ever again.
But, I guess the only thing I'll say about that is that, and the show never clarifies this, it's not clear when Tommy left versus when Lori left, right? And I don't know if we can even rely on the book as guidance for that, right? All we know at the beginning of this television show is that both Lori and Tommy are gone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he was gone for a long time too. So it's kind of like, on some way, he can't really cast that But again, what we've realized that
he's still just a kid.
Wow.
I mean,
large adult son. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying he was, but he's.
But he's right in the sense that he can get upset for her leaving his sister.
Right, leaving his sister,
and Kevin.
Right. Well, she broke up the family.
Yeah.
And then he already came from, we find out his dad, his biological dad is an ass. So he's got that going. I mean, I think he's had a rough time.
I guess you could say that because, like, probably when she was in the GR, she didn't contact him. He didn't contact her, vice versa.
No. And they always seem to have a pretty close
yeah.
We talked about before, they were very close.
Yeah.
So for her to go in the GR,
yeah,
it hurt him as much as it hurt Jill.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, because we don't see that scene until the end of season 1. We really don't see, like, how close that relationship was.
Right.
So we can speculate that probably did have some sort of impact in him, seeking out or clinging to Holy Wayne even more.
On top of the whole departure thing. So
yeah.
you have that too. So anyway. Then Tommy's laying there. Tommy likes to drink. He's laying on a park.
Wear beanies.
Yeah, he wear beanies or toboggans, as a lot of people here call them. But Tommy sees a lady leave a dog, gets out of a car, tells the dog to stay. It's a border collie too, right? I used to have a border collie. Anyway, and they don't stay. They're hyper. But she then drives away. So we still have issues with the dogs, right?
Is it the dog, or is this more like just abandoning anything? like in terms of abandoning children.
Yeah, I think it's just a metaphor that, he's essentially been left on his own, and so was the dog.
Okay. That's a good point. I like it. Let's see. And then drunk Tommy goes looking for Meg at the place where he was trying to recruit the girl with the whistle. He goes, blow your whistle. Bring Meg back. Blow your whistle. Blow your whistle. Blow your whistle. And as big as Tommy is, he can't fight. Are we right? He's a pretty buff dude, but he's just, I don't think he's won a fight, has he?
Not season 2 Tommy. Season 1 Tommy knew how to fight.
Yeah, he got his butt kicked. Oh no, it's season. You're right. That's right. Okay, you're correct. They're kicking the crap out of him, and then Meg shows up, and then later on he only has a little scratch. He's got blood out of everywhere, but he's not swelling. There's no bruising. But he's got a little scratch right here. Anybody? Am I the only one that?
Okay, so all right, here's the deal. All right, like I'm skipping to the part where him and Megan talk. Okay, I'm just skipping to that part right now. Him and Meg talk really quick for a second, right?
Yes.
And he says, if I want, she says, you're not looking for this. You said you could take it away. You're not looking for this. You're looking for a family, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, if I wanted to go to my family, I'd go to Texas. He goes, what part of Texas? Miracle, Texas. Oh, you must mean Jordan, which is the property, blah, blah, blah. I love it too, but
no one said blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they did. In Caleb yada 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 the Bible a couple weeks ago. I can do blah 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 right here.
I think yada 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 is in the Bible.
Yeah. Begot yada. I was there. It was my Haftorah portion, I think. But the reason why I'm getting so worked up is because we're talking about all these things, but like in a whole season where everything fits so perfectly, this is the only thing that seems very forced to me.
Right.
What is forced?
That they somehow all
this is a chess set piece episode for the beautiful end game that's coming up, and just the whole fact that Tommy, family, Miracle, she's going to Miracle. It's all just like, I know we have to. We're going along with it because we love the Leftovers. It's just the one thing in the season that it just seems like you're forcing the square into the round peg.
What could be the odds?
What are they forcing? Just the fact that they're all going to Texas? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the fact that just so happens that there's this trauma that leads these two people.
No state tax.
Specifically to the one place in Texas. To
More important, and I would say,
I
mean, it kind of you could have written it such that they each independently go to the same place, right? Like because Tommy knows that like they're in Texas, he could have just left, hopped on a Greyhound, and she was heading there anyways, right? But that they end up writing a scene that says, "Oh, what are the odds? I'm heading there myself. Come with me," right? And
she looks up to God.
Yeah,
and laughs and puts her hands together.
But Meg knows all those. She knows that they're all there.
It didn't seem like she knew.
No,
I think she didn't know. I think she did know.
No, because then,
she's been there a few times. She knows what's going on,
but she doesn't know what's going on inside. She doesn't know Nora and Kevin are inside, and she doesn't care.
It's public. It's public. Well, I mean, not that Nora and Kevin are there, but she knows. I don't know.
It'd be interesting. You would think that, like, given that first of all, I'm assuming that at this point in time she's had some contact with Evie after Evie departed. That she might have like provided some information that coincidentally would have let them know that their new neighbors are from the same town as her.
That's true. That's a good point. I'm gonna say she knew they were there. She wasn't shocked to see Matt.
She's not shocked by anything.
All right.
That's true.
That she's one of those people that doesn't get shocked by anything. There's nothing you could say that would. She's the most relentless person her mother knows. Right. Mm-hmm. So when she gets there, she's not shocked to see Matt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will agree with you. Though I was thinking the whole time. I go, this is kind of a Lost moment where it's just kind of everything has to fit together. Right. They all know this small town, and but they made such a big deal about the town being such a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
the whole season that, and so many people going there. I mean, they show thousands of people going there. So I get it that it wouldn't be that. I just accept it. How's that?
I accept it too. But if we're digging into the episode in such a fashion, then I want to say it.
All right. Okay. All right. But it made sense though when Meg went, right? Did it make sense when Meg went there when she was looking for answers?
Yeah,
Absolutely, at the beginning.
Yeah. And in fact, what she says to Matt makes sense too.
Yeah.
You know, if it would happen anywhere else, it'd be a coincidence. But because we're in Miracle, it's Miracle.
Right.
know?
And of course, with Nora, it made sense that Nora would go there.
Yeah.
Tommy didn't want to go there because he was stuck with Lori. That's why he didn't go with Jill and Nora, and plus he doesn't. You know, he hadn't talked to his dad, and I mean Kevin. How long?
Over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though Kevin would have accepted him and said,
Yes.
"Hey, you know." Anyway,
So, but one question for the group: when they're going back and forth before that forced dialogue, and he wants her to take his pain away, and she quips, "Why don't you just hug yourself?" Which I thought was clever. But then he says, "I'll do anything. I just want to be a part of this." And then she says, "You don't understand this. You're not looking for this. You're looking for a family." What do you think she's implying this, meaning the GR, is? If it's not some sort of a family.
Well, there isn't family.
Is it really like the antithesis of what we saw in International Assassin, where Patty says, "Yes, we're here to break up families," the anti-family?
yeah, I wouldn't call the GR family.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it GR family.
Even though a lot of cults call themselves family.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I thought that was pretty clever. So
Manson family.
We can therefore say that even in her wing, she's really looking at the antithesis of the concept of the family, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Then Meg and Tommy are driving to Jordan, and then Meg gets a call. Can you get my phone out of the glove compartment?
Crickets.
Yes.
Love that.
She asks him if he is curious about what she's going to do in Texas. And Tommy's like, yeah. Then Tommy goes, "I'm just going to say it. This is going to be a bad word." He says, "I want to know why you fucked me."
Which would have been a bit more powerful. He said, "I want to know why you raped me."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be a bit more real with the situation.
I agree.
You know, and her answer is really stupid as far as I'm concerned, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. It does go into. I can't write this show. I'm not making fun. I'm not saying anything about the writers of the show. I can never do what they do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
you can criticize it though.
Oh yes, I will. No. I this whole this can go to Meg's insane all over the place nature that we see in this episode. She doesn't have a reason why she did that. She just did it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of one of the many pieces of dialogue within a couple spaces here that really just.
But you think it's the writers were purposely doing this because I think Eckhart said it that Meg is all over the place,
chaotic.
So the writing is going to have to be chaotic because it can't. Yeah. They want it to kind of make what is going on with Meg, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the only conclusion I can come to as after watching it twice now this week and hearing us discuss it, is that she really is. They're really trying to portray someone as sociopathic, cult of personality, and absolutely chaotic. And if what we saw in season 1 with Holy Wayne is like he would kind of blank out,
right?
And it would seem like he would forget who he's talking to, but then he would come to. But this, I would say, is even more chaotic than our hugging friend. Because he's asking her like a serious question, and she goes, "Look, there's a honky tonk bar."
Right? Yeah, you want to dance?
And this is what's so brilliant about this episode is that like they they interject like 3 minutes between his very serious question and her answer. And the way that they shot this scene where they dance with the I'm gonna butcher his name. Ethan, who's the artist's name? Sturgill Simpson.
Is it Sturgill Simpson?
Sturgill Simpson
Sturgill?
doing the cover of the 80s song, right?
No. It's his song.
No, the song that he's covering is "The Promise," I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, the Alphaville song?
Oh, something like that. It's an 80s song that they covered then to, what would it be, country western?
Yeah, it was also in Watchmen too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way that this scene is shot, this slow dance scene could have been like, this would have been like the best scene of any 80s movies, right? And then, like, she answers the question there.
Too deep for an 80s movie, though.
Well, just the way that when you want to shoot a romantic scene in a bar, like, this is what probably all those directors in the 80s would shoot for in terms of the way that they were shooting the expressions on the face, the embrace, the way that the bodies are moving to each other.
Like Urban Cowboy.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, we're going to pretend that you didn't say that and just move on.
So,
well,
Caleb, you haven't seen Urban Cowboy yet either, have you? Yeah, I know it. All right. You guys are looking for love in all the wrong places. Let's go.
John Travolta, come on. No, nothing.
Scott Glenn, Harvey Sr.
Yes, Scott Glenn, yeah.
I'm trying to tell him.
Was it also Deborah Winger's in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Jerry Hall.
And Scott Glenn is ripped in this movie. He
wears one of those fishnet shirts and he drinks the tequila when he drinks the worm. Sorry.
Okay, so
exactly.
It's better than this episode of The Leftovers. Let's go.
Okay, so back to the bar scene.
Well, you got question. They're drinking shots, and she goes, "Well, if you don't want yours," and Tommy's like, "Hey, I don't pass up alcohol. I drink." And she goes, "Who's the blonde?"
Right.
He's like, "What?" Well, you have blonde hair. Your dad has black hair. Your mom has black. You know my mom and dad. You know these people. Obviously, she knows that she knows the mom. Don't spoil Urban Cowboy. But she knows that then he talks about his dad and stuff like that. And then she talks about her childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that it still affects her today. And that's where I agreed with Caleb in the beginning, that the mom is controlling. And I think that's why Elliot left. Why would he adopt Meg and then leave a year later and never come back? I think the mom is just a pain in the ass.
I like the mom.
But
why?
I just think
generous.
Generous. But that's where I agreed with Caleb in the beginning, and I think we were all against Eckhart. But I think that the mom, because she doesn't explain why the dad left, but we hit the opening friction between the mom, and I think maybe she was upset. Maybe she's always held a grudge against the mom because Elliot left. Elliot was her dad figure because her dad died when she was a baby. She never knew her dad.
Right.
Well, maybe Elliot started seeing people and talking to them and had to leave, and maybe Meg went up to Elliot and was like, "Hey, buddy, this is twice now. What's going on? Can you fix it?"
Maybe he meant an ET or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe
Elliot. But no, I think that's what I think. There's obviously, I mean, who has to do coke before they talk to their mom?
Well, again, there are two people in that relationship: the mom and the child, right?
I get it, but I think that you're a lot of people's issues. We all have issues from our childhood, right? Mm-hmm. Can we all say that? I mean, if
let me put in perspective. My mom's a lot tougher than that mom in the opening scene, and I've never done any coke before going to see her.
But you have, like we're all saying with Meg. Meg is taking control, and she's not an angry. She's not violent. I mean, she is, but she's not in your face. She's very calm. And like I said, she's like a shark with cold black eyes.
Yes and no. I mean, season 1, we saw her beating the crap out of Matt.
Right. But that was probably out of character for her. But when we see Meg now, like even when she said, we'll say later on, when she says stone the guy, she doesn't go, stone him!
Right.
Stone him. so the mom, I think the mom was the same way. I think growing up, I think Meg just had all those underlying issues, and it just is, oh, I got to see my mom today. What's she gonna bag on me today about? Oh, it's the boots. Oh, she's gonna bug me about the damn, paying for. It's probably not the first time she's offered to pay for the wedding. This is probably an ongoing thing that she says every time she got together. I can pay for the wedding. I can pay for that. No, I don't want you paying for the wedding. No. And her fiance is like, why can't you pay for the wedding? Save us some cash. Save us some scratch. But then she also tells that when her mom died, she tells Tommy, yeah, we sent her into space.
Mm-hmm.
It was $12,000. A company. Is that true? You can.
I think so. I think at the time, right now, you can send CEOs into space. So.
Yeah, that's true. But they come back.
It's a shame. Really a shame.
But if you take this entire conversation, right, and just lift it out of the show, right? Seems like you could find this conversation any like romantic comedy movie, right, or drama, right?
You could, because she's very, like everyone's been saying, she's not fazed by anything. She's just telling her this is what she's telling why she is the way. This whole episode is telling us why Meg is going the way Meg is going.
Right.
From everything that's happened in her life, she got pushed over the edge, and maybe she was mad because the mom died and she didn't get to tell her off or something like that. Maybe she was holding everything inside and her mom passed away and was like, I just really wanted to say something to her.
But it's kind of like, okay. When we think about the different characters we have in Leftovers, right? And they all have like major issues, right? They all have, they're all dealing with issues, right? It does seem and we don't get that much information about Meg. The only thing we really get is that scene at the beginning and her recollection of Elliot leaving a year after he adopted her, right? It just, the discrepancy between that and what she ends up doing, right? That chasm seems so much bigger than like the other characters in terms of their issues and how they express their frustrations, right?
I agree, but with Meg, I remember when I first watched this show, I was like, why is she joining the GR?
Yeah,
her family didn't depart. Okay, her mom died before the departure. Why is she that? And then if you go back and watch it, she doesn't. She starts trying to go her own, right from the beginning. She's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. This is crap. We need to do this. When she tells Lori, go back and you can keep it. I won't tell anybody.
Right.
Well, this is unlike Game of Thrones because you can actually see her get mad in the second episode and that's actually where the seeds of this turn in season 2 first came from for Damon Lindelof. He said the reason why he decided to go this way is because, and it's not the first time we're going to discuss this, a choice an actor has made much earlier.
Oh.
Okay. So when he sees her trying to cut down the tree and the way she played that, that's when he got the seed for this. And definitely when you see her at the end of The Prodigal Son Returns.
Right.
We made them remember. So I think it's all there.
So we're assuming that like the arc was building already, and here the onus was on the writers to try and backfill it.
We're really working hard to set the pieces for next week.
It's probably the hardest thing to tell a story.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, obviously, when writing it's telling the story, but I don't know. Let's see. They do kiss, then they dance, and Meg says, "This feels nice, right?" And Tommy goes, "Yeah, it does feel nice, right?" And then she says, "Yeah, I fucked you because I wanted." Did I write down? He wanted him to get
you pregnant.
Yeah, get you pregnant.
Yeah, that was the line. Can we move on?
But I unpacked that as saying like, in the term of impregnate him with the idea of following her into the GR, right?
Oh. Yeah.
Or into her branch of the GR.
Yeah.
What do you think of that line, Caleb?
You don't know. You don't want to know what I think about that line.
I do. Please. I really do.
Yeah. Come on, Isaac.
Well, I mean, at first I have to talk about the scene, because the scene in the bar really makes the viewer start to wonder, is this a moment of like calm? Why is Tommy continuing with this ruse? Why am I getting the vibe that this is, a very chaos filled world? And there's this brief moment of them almost what could have been, had both not one, been a con artist and one joined a cult or whatever. And so she does not own up to the fact that she raped him. It's never spoken again, and quite frankly, that's a fail on the writer's part to not acknowledge it, like you mentioned earlier, Ethan, when he flat out asked her why she did it, and the way he asked her. I feel like they really skirt-tailed by that. And the fact that there is male rape that occurs, and it's not talked about a lot, also is even more damaging, that they didn't do a little bit more with that. But that's all I have to say in regards to Tommy and Meg.
You think that the reason they didn't bring it up, because at this point, Meg doesn't feel she did anything wrong. So, right? So
that was the scene.
Yeah. So why bring it up? If I'm just playing devil's advocate here, that maybe that they said, right? Maybe they did probably talked about it. Should we bring it up? They're like saying, well, that we're painting Meg as someone who doesn't care. So because I think that's what Tommy was saying in so many words, and Meg was saying in so many words, I don't care.
Yeah, she's also a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, her reaction is obviously sociopathic. I would say that the reason why Tommy didn't have him write those lines were because, Tommy as a character doesn't have
he's not going to be thinking that way in any way.
Yeah, exactly, and that's probably the best explanation of it, is that like somebody who had like a higher self-esteem would have said like, why did you rape me, right?
Yeah,
but the most he could say is, why did you F me?
Because
I've been looking for a way to call Tommy like smart in any way, but I can't.
No,
because I think
any movie he's ever made, what
we've seen from Tommy from day one is everybody dumps on Tommy.
Yeah,
everybody takes advantage of Tommy.
Yeah,
Coley Wayne took advantage of Tommy. Christine took advantage of Tommy. Everyone just dumps on Tommy. On Tommy. Lori dumps on his own mom.
Meg.
Dumps on Tommy. Meg dumps on Tommy. It's just a chain.
Well, he is the ultimate mark, right?
Right.
I wouldn't even call him a sucker. And
no.
Actually, taking a step back, when we would discuss John Locke in Lost, and you'd always refer to him as a sucker, right? And Jay would get in it, fit.
Jay was wrong.
I always felt like sucker was a rough term, right? But Tommy is definitely in that camp as a mark, right?
Right.
And when we first watched Leftovers, we all assumed that like Matt was like they're painting him as the John Locke type character,
right?
But no, it's definitely Tommy. Tommy is the mark, but it's difficult for us to really criticize him as heavily as Jack, as you and I would criticize Locke, because it does feel like there is something that he's trying to fix that he can't, that makes him still susceptible to this abuse, right?
Well, Locke was the same way,
right?
I mean, Locke always wanted that. He had daddy issues, he had mommy issues. I mean, he was used and abused, but he never wanted to accept, anyway.
It's almost like because Tommy's younger, maybe we have more sympathy to his character, right?
Right. Exactly, because it is
what it is. You watch these cult documentaries, you watch Holy Hell, which is like the mother of all cult documentaries for me, and you see these people after, and these were educated people, well-to-do people, and there's this huge void in their life, and they get I don't want to say suckered, because it makes them sound like stupid people. I don't think they're stupid. I think they're emotionally thirsty.
Yeah. They want acceptance. They want, because I watched something on the Manson family, and there were some young kids who were just they could be molded into it, but there were a lot of smart, successful people that that became part of this. And you're like going, what were you thinking? I mean, just anyway.
Or Wild Wild Country or stuff like that. I mean, and I think Tommy is in that category. And when he finally figures out that, yes, his mom is taking advantage of him, he thinks that Meg can make it better.
Right. He goes from the next person to the next.
He goes to the next person, and it's the same.
It's something it's hard to learn, but only you can make yourself.
Yeah, and Caleb touched on this before in the sense that, both Lori and Tommy have some awareness about the fact that they've fallen prey to this stuff, right?
Right.
But he just can't break out of it. And that's what makes him like really, really tragic at this point in time in the season, right?
Why do we think he avoids his dad, Kevin, for so long? Why does he just?
I think because his dad would know what's up, and I think his dad would know what was good for him, and there's something about him that it treats that as the last resort because
Kevin
because of his own daddy issues,
Yeah. All right. Anything else on this subject before we move on?
I don't even know where we are. So
okay, that's good.
We're leaving the bar.
So they pull up to I called it a farm, and the armed guy he's pretty heavily armed. Writes down there's a situation.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, move the chain. Well, she doesn't say like move the chain, and then some guy tells Meg she start right that someone got on the prop. Well, she goes, just tell me.
Just effing tell me.
Yeah. And some guy got on the property. And the guy says, I didn't do anything. And then the whole thing, he's like, well, how did you get on there? It was a bike trail. He got it wandered off. He goes, I didn't see anything. She goes, well, and then the guy says, I thought he made a good point. We can just wait, hold him, and then we'll release him after what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, no, stone him. Just calm, no yelling, no shouting, just.
And the guy was totally right. They could have waited a couple days. The guy would have been fine.
Right. Because I'm thinking when I watched this first time, I go, well, they must have explosives or a huge arsenal of weapons that he saw, or it had to be something that was going to be, other than what we see at the end of the episode. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when you were watching for the first time, but do you agree? I mean, I was thinking it was going to be explosives, bombs.
Well, they set up that red herring, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And, yeah.
Because why would you kill this guy for what you see at the end? It's like, what's the big deal? But that's her control, though.
Hmm.
Maybe that's her.
She learned that from her mom.
Maybe that's her getting to Texas, maybe that's her getting to Texas and realizing she's got to take the bull by the horns, as it were, and show these people who's boss now that she's here.
Well, that was what it was. She was telling, and they go, oh, wow, she's in charge, and we're not going to, because had that whole thing. What makes a cult successful is people are afraid to go against the leader.
Right.
I mean, you look at Koresh and you look at Jim Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He 900 people drank Kool-Aid because, well, they wanted him they believed in him. Let's see. And then, so Tommy's going on, hey, he sees stone this guy because the guy's being dragged away. He goes, what am I supposed to do? He hands him a rock, say, here, make yourself useful.
Yeah.
Very, very calm, very cold. I'm like going, God.
We should talk to the well-hung Christmas lights in this barn. Precision-hung Christmas lights.
Well, they do good work.
They do.
All right, if you have someone like Meg, would you have the Christmas lights not in the right order?
It's true.
I don't want to get stoned for not having what if there's a light bulb out? Stone him.
Right.
And then a woman comes up to Tommy and writes, did you come with Meg? He goes, yes. And he writes down, she's going to change everything. She's going to change everything. And then Meg drives away. And Tommy sees it.
All right, so here's where I got to talk for a minute. Okay.
You got 60 seconds.
Okay, no. If you guys want to hear me ramble about this on the other thing I did, it's on there too. This song is very important to me.
The Olivia
Newton-John song. Because
I had a crush on her.
I had a crush on her too. But I hadn't heard, before I saw this episode of Leftovers, I hadn't heard that song in 20 years. Like literally, I hadn't heard it in 20 years. and it put me in the back of my stepmom's Honda when I was 8 or whatever it was. It put me there. It was so crazy hearing the song for the first time. I lost my mind. It's been on regular rotation in the house ever since this episode. And
yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah. Same way about Let's Get Physical.
Let me hear your body talk, Jack. I'm a fan of all Olivia Newton-John, and she's Australian.
Yep. Yeah, there she is. Hanging out with Scott Glenn.
Hanging out.
Kevin Sr. Anything else you want to say about it?
And I think from now on, like from this part of the episode till the end of the episode, is like we're back to like top tier. Like it's brilliant.
So you're happy now?
I'm very happy now.
I was just going to say that the girl who writes down that Meg is going to change everything.
Yeah,
I think that obviously what they're saying here is that Meg's going to burst the illusion of miracle, and she's going to cause people to realize that they aren't special, that they aren't lucky. And this goes back to the conversation Meg had with Isaac in the beginning when he was like, "People call you lucky," and scoffed at that.
Yeah.
And then the song, we have to believe we are magic, basically equals we have to believe we are special. Yeah. Because in the show, they're really always grasping at whatever they can hold on to, and that we're special, and especially Miracle of all places is that. So I think that song was an excellent choice there.
It was, because I was thinking the same thing. I started listening. I go, why would they have a Olivia Newton-John song? And I go, oh, and you're listening to the words. Yeah, so you're spot on with that, because I was thinking the same thing. I go, Olivia Newton-John, because I forgot that, been forever. I go, oh, okay, that makes sense now.
And the shot they have her walking into the thing, like she's coming into this thing that she created, and she's looking around, and you can obviously they got that shot of all those people sitting blank faced, like she's like the boss checking out the thing the day before the event, and then when Matt comes in, the music stops.
Right.
You hear his voice and it stops. And they've done that a couple times in this episode where something's happening and someone talks and the music just completely stops dead.
And like you said, this gets back to Leftovers classic, because the acting between Matt and Meg is outstanding. He goes, Megan? Did you say Megan or?
He said Megan, and the only other person to call her that is her mom. So that goes back to the beginning, and it's also back to the fact it's a reminder, ironically, to Meg that was her old life. There's very few people in the world who say Megan, and that's one of the only ones who's there. Right. And I think that might have maybe even caught her by surprise just a moment. But and that's why she gives him the time of day that she did, and sat down and talked with him.
Well, she says, "You're the priest, right?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She knows the priest. She knows damn well who he is, and he said Megan to her when she was beating the crap out of him.
Yeah,
yeah.
He kept saying it over and over again.
Yeah,
Megan,
right.
Megan.
But she does. I forgot to say, she does look at the bridge.
She does.
And is that okay?
Well, earlier on the phone, she said, "I want to see the bridge for myself."
Right. He says, "Are you left the GR?" And she says,
"Yep. I sure did."
You're talking.
You're talking. That's so great. I'm so happy for you.
He lands so many here.
Yeah.
He lands so many here. It's great.
And then she says, they both came here for the same reason. Safety, right?
Right.
That's why everybody goes. That's why Nora went there. Kevin went because Nora went there. Jill went because, Nora went there. People on the other side of the bridge are not suffering like us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It's the anniversary of your mother's death, correct? She goes, yeah, dick.
Well, basically, he goes, it's the anniversary. She goes, no, tomorrow's the 14th. She goes, no, today is the day your mother died.
Right. And then Matt reminds her of the time that he had the picture of his mom, and she attacked him. Now, what did he accuse the mom of doing before? Being a bad mom?
I don't think he accused her of anything because at that point in time, he wasn't like digging up dirt on people's past lives.
Yeah, no, he was just trying to
pull
let
people out of
her
the remnant.
Yeah, let her grieve. The point was to attack her with this information about her mother, that she didn't actually depart, that she died the day before, and her grief was hijacked.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that, because I think you guys said that she remembered everything, maybe she didn't remember this because she's not.
No, I think she remembers.
You think she remembers? Because maybe she doesn't remember attacking Matt.
I think, it's funny in that scene that Ethan pointed out where he got upset about Tommy and her talking about Jordan. The fact that she recounts what the park ranger said almost verbatim, right?
Yeah.
Where she describes Jordan. To me, that almost, I might be reading too much into this, but that signaled to me that they're saying that she has a really good memory.
I get that, but sometimes you block because we've seen Meg, and it was mentioned earlier that she's always in control of herself, her emotions, right? Well, she wasn't in control of her emotion there. That's something she probably would want to forget about. And she's done so many terrible things since.
Maybe,
like even when she leaves the grenade in, she's not angry. She just drops the grenade and walks out.
But regardless, the look on her face when he says it to her, when she goes, "Oh, I had forgotten about that."
Yeah,
it's captivating, mesmerizing.
The fake response, right?
I'm gonna say that I think she forgot about it. It's like, well, plus she forgot about the boots, right? She blocks out things maybe she doesn't want to remember.
Speaking as a son who's done that kind of thing before, she didn't forget about the boots.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I'm on the fence about whether she remembered what he did or not. With the beating.
I think she remembered. What say you, Caleb?
I think it's irrelevant because Matt is not relevant to her at all. He's just not relevant to her. He's like a bug under her shoe at this point. She's in control. He's not anything to do with her plan. He just happens to be there.
But so it pisses her off so much she does a little supervillain thing.
What does she do?
She just has to give him a nugget of what your plan is. She just has to say, what are you waiting for? Why have you gone over?
That is the next line.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't all you and people just she wants them to just go over the bridge and go in. That's what they all want.
That's what she's, and then she ends it by saying, "You're waiting for me." She has put herself on such a high pedestal. Everybody's below her, especially Matt, who she's not seen in God knows how long.
Right.
So, yeah.
And she doesn't respect Matt, right? Like you were saying, Caleb, basically.
Oh yeah, that too.
At what point in time does she have that vision that they just they interject that frame of the trailer on the bridge? That happens during this conversation, right?
No, right when she gets there before.
When is it? When does it happen?
Before Matt says anything.
It is. It's when the Meg is in the house with the other ladies, and they're like, "There's rumors you're planning your own event," and that was the quick shot.
Is that when they show it quickly?
They show it before she even says that she's got to see the bridge by herself.
Right. Okay.
And then we go. Tommy gets up. Everyone else is sleeping. He gets up. He goes to the barn, and it's a trailer inside. Now, my first thought when I saw this, I go, "Is this like a Oklahoma City bombing type? Is it going to be full of, fertilizer? Is it going to be a big? Is she going to blow something up?"
Sure.
That was what I was first thinking. Because why would they stone that? I still go, why would they stone that guy to death? He tries to open the door. He can't. He gets an axe, which was conveniently there. And he pries the door open. And who does he see? Evie and the two other girls. And he goes, what are you doing here? And she writes down, "It doesn't matter." Boom. End of episode.
Speaking for myself, the first time I saw this, I was 110% blindsided. I had no idea. I didn't think about it. And for most of the things I was listening to at the time, no one got it.
Yeah.
No one got it. The misdirection in this season is so perfect
Mm-hmm.
It's why the episode belongs in the season.
Mm-hmm.
What I was trying to say before,
Right.
like, because even with whatever issues I have with whatever we talked about before, this moment right here, the pieces are there. You know what I mean? Everything's set, and we know the truth, and it was amazing to watch.
And another reason why that final scene is so powerful is because the rest of the episode was so chaotic, right?
Right.
Because it's going all over the place, literally. And then it just hit you over the head with that final nugget.
Well, I think what I like, because I really like this episode, but what I liked about it is because, like Ethan had said, we all said, I never saw the end coming, but yet they were telling us all season that they were, we know now because I think Ethan, you brought it up early on in the season that they were, how no one figured out they were part of the GR because of the way they were acting. It's like, it was just like, wow, I was blown away. So it wasn't one of those things where they kind of, somehow sometimes shows have that cliffhanger. I go, wait, how was that? You never gave me a chance to answer the whodunit. Whereas here they were throwing the crumbs out there, but we weren't picking it up.
And the fact that, like, you literally think about, the guy who's running the show and what he did to you in the other show, and you're like, oh my God, he's doing it again.
Yeah.
I really thought that. I really thought I can't believe he's doing it again. He's doing it again. And there's so much anticipation. I think there was even like a week off between the season finale and this episode. And you're just like, this whole time you're thinking to yourself, because of Lost, I hope he lands it. I hope he lands, almost more for him than for you enjoying the ride. You know what I mean?
Right, because it was such a great season. But you're just like, okay, now he has to. They have to nail that, because again, like I said earlier in this episode, we didn't know if there was going to be a season 3.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, I was assuming this was it. I said this is going to be it. I go, hopefully he ends it, nails it, lands the jump, which he does. Spoiler alert.
But like, even like as each episode, the headlines and the podcast people, the praise keeps going up and up and up. The ratings were still going down.
Yeah.
So it was
because people didn't watch a lot of people didn't watch season 1, so you didn't have that carryover.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people did watch season 1, decided not to watch season 2 because season 1 was such a bummer.
Well, yeah, that's one. But again, I think a lot of people dropped off on as season 1 went on. People were dropping off.
Yeah,
it was like, okay, this is just so depressing.
Yeah.
So you didn't because even Lost had that huge. At first, the ratings were up here, and as time went on, they went down. But they were still pretty good for network television. Where this one was like, okay, they started here, and they went down.
It's like it's like way less than 1 million people every week were watching this.
Yeah.
That's tough. It's tough viewing.
Yeah. It's not for
hard work.
It's not for everybody.
Caleb, did you get it when you first saw the girls? Did you get it any time before he opened the trailer?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I'm always looking for people to say, "Oh, I knew."
I haven't met anybody that knew.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like I was completely shocked when that trailer opened. Like you see Evie's face, like
because you're just not thinking about it at the time. They haven't mentioned the girls this whole episode.
Well,
they haven't. How many episodes?
You see Evie in the episode.
Yeah,
that's true. That's dumb of me to say. But
okay, forget I said you didn't have any points.
But like Ethan might have said, I mean, when you have like chaotic writing like this, and like you're so accustomed to looking for all sorts of details in every scene, you can get spun around easily and miss the big picture.
Right, but they were even telling us the way Meg and Evie interacted,
connected.
It's like it was there. But like you were saying, Eckhart, we just weren't putting it together. It was a puzzle. Pieces were still all over the place because I think I was more focused on what Meg was going through this whole episode and Tommy to know that, okay, like I said, I never would have guessed that in a million years.
In that throwaway scene where they're interrogating the guy in the barn, right?
Right.
Whatever that was. Like, my mind is focused on those roller skates. Because even though I've seen the entire series already more than once, I'm wondering if those roller skates matter. Because that's what Lindelof does to you, right?
Right.
Like, there are some pure red herrings in this show. One of them is the explosion, the bombs, the plastic explosives. The other one is, no one's written into me to tell me they know why the girls were running around naked. It was just, as a guy who works for magicians, it was just the best best distraction. The best.
Weren't they running around naked because they were shedding their regular clothes for GR clothes?
They probably could have just taken off their clothes and put on GR clots.
I'm just saying. Maybe that was kind of the.
I don't know. People said it's because they were putting their scent around for dogs.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I never, I never figured it out, and I don't buy that one. So,
all right. I'm just throwing it out there.
A couple unanswered things that I'll have to let the mystery be on those.
So, do we all love the? Well, we didn't. I really like the episode. I thought it was fantastic.
I'm curious what Caleb thinks is the worst episode of the season.
Matt's episode.
Okay.
You don't like Matt though, right?
No. But going back to the Meg thing, and her mom telling her that she's the most relentless person that she's ever known, I feel like that really sets the stage for the episode. And when Meg's mom dies, Meg loses the only one who calls her Megan, other than Matt, which we find out later. And that identity for her, it's gone. And she seems shocked in that conversation that she didn't realize that her identity involved being relentless. She didn't realize that. She seemed shocked to hear that. And it's almost as if, in honor of her mom, Meg takes up that mantle and is sort of like, okay, I'm going to be as relentless as possible and, go with it with gusto, with everything I do. And we see her doing that with her plan, for moving forward. And the other thing, if we're discussing spoilers, are we?
Yeah, we can do that.
Do it.
My question, which I just now, or as I was rewatching it, my question is, Megan's ringtone. I'm calling her Megan now. Meg's ringtone was crickets.
Yep.
And we know that Evie and Meg had some sort of contact before Meg, comes back for this. And because Evie tipped her off by saying nothing special happens here, and Meg leaves thinking nothing special's here, she knows Evie's on her same page and she can get her under her wing. So my question is, did Evie have that same ringtone or text on her phone and there wasn't a real life cricket and she put a fake cricket in her dad's box just to F with him even more?
That's a great theory.
I thought about that at the time too.
Yeah, that was... Go ahead.
But Ethan will explain to us why that's probably wrong.
No, it's a good theory. It was going around at the time. I personally think that they were chasing a real cricket in the house.
Well, because Erica even mentioned, and we noticed this at the end of the first episode, the final scene, right, of the first episode, is she's in the house and she can still hear the cricket.
Yeah.
And so unless
I never thought about it.
She's still pranking him as she's running to the GR, right?
Yeah, never mind. That doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think it's just another one of those things to throw in to make you think, well, what?
But the thing that I thought about that was
Eckhart just broke it. It's not real, but thanks, Laura.
But she could have had another phone there.
Yeah, you could say that. Or what I was thinking is, in that car scene, what if the ringtone that Meg set for Evie is the crickets, and that conversation was actually her talking to Evie?
Oh, well, yeah, I for sure assumed that. Yeah.
I forgot all about the cricket.
I forgot that Erica was in the house and there was a cricket. So yeah, but thanks, Laura.
But she couldn't hear the cricket though, right?
Erica?
Erica could hear.
Depending on if she had
Her hearing aids.
a hearing aid on or not, right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, she talks about it in the next episode. She tells John to open the present. He opens it.
Yeah.
And then explains that there was still a cricket. Because she heard it the night after she departed.
All right. I thought it was a good theory. So.
That was a good theory.
I think it's a good theory.
I thought about it at the same time too.
Like I said, I forgot. I completely forgot about the cricket being so important to that episode. It doesn't crickets? Isn't it like when someone tells a bad joke or if something falls flat, crickets are like, you hear crickets. So
yeah.
Like when Eckhart offers a theory.
Exactly. And like the one I'm going to say right now was that when they talked about Megan being relentless, John was relentless trying to find the cricket as well, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Cricket.
Well, he's relentless in everything, right? He's with Isaac, he didn't let up on Isaac. He didn't, pretty much everywhere in the town. When Matt first came to town, he was relentless with him.
Relentless.
And he doesn't have much of a sense of humor, so we know where Evie gets it from.
Well, yeah, Evie is definitely his child.
Yeah, no mistake in that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess we're set up to watch the greatest episode in television history next week, right?
Yeah.
Is International Assassin on again?
Oh no, it's my second one. It's my second favorite.
Oh, okay.
So everyone here has watched Watchmen, right?
I watched Watchmen this weekend again.
So I really appreciated this bar scene that I hopped on after having watched Watchmen and seen roughly the same scene with what's his name? What's that character's name? The
looking mirror guy?
Oh yeah.
Looking glass,
yeah. Wade, right?
Yeah.
Wade, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's like I realized like he's really fine-tuning the Mark character better and better every series that he does Lindelof. Like it wasn't coincidence that they more or less took the Tommy scene and gave it to Wade in Watchmen with a different Sturgill Simpson songs playing.
I think it was the same song.
Was it the exact same song? Okay,
the exact same song. Walkabout. Oh. No, I think we're going into my favorite episode of television in history. I think when you compare something like The Constant, or if we're talking Lost comparisons, there's no place like home is the two-parter season 3 finale. Yeah, right. I think that's more along the lines of I Live Here Now, which is next week. And The Constant is more in line with International Assassin.
Yeah.
Are you referring to Through the Looking Glass season 3 finale, or season 4 finale? There's no place like home.
Through the Looking Glass is what I'm talking about.
That's where we confirm the underwater hatch, which is
right.
Very important. Very important to me.
Literally the only thing that happened in Lost. So
the only thing that mattered.
But I really think when you're talking in terms of best Lost episodes, like those two are it for me, but they have the same relationship. Like you can sit down and show someone through the Looking Glass and say, this is kind of the best of Lost all together in an episode or two. Right. This is just an opinion, of course. I see Caleb upset about this, but you can't sit down and show someone The Constant.
Isn't Juliet in it?
Yes.
The Constant, yeah.
You can't sit down and show someone The Constant and say, this is the best episode of Lost. Enjoy, and they'll have an understanding of what they're seeing.
There's no way because
they won't be able to appreciate it.
It's the same thing with International Assassin. You can't sit someone down and say, this is my favorite episode of TV from my favorite show. You'll love it. Watch it.
I think you could because it's so different.
Maybe, but they won't get a taste for other characters.
No context.
No,
right?
There's no context, other characters. So, in that sense, and all the things that I'm going to go on about for this long next week, I love next week's episode the best.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
So I say the verdict on Meg is that she's just a chaotic sociopath at this point.
Yes.
That's the only way to... Okay.
Definitely getting into spoiler territory. She's got no plan after her plan.
Yeah.
So,
She's a one-hit wonder. The Wonders!
Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
I can't say that. Captain Geach and the Shrimp
Shack.
I can't do it. I cannot do it.
Steve Zahn is also in White Lotus right now, which everyone should watch.
Yeah, I almost did. I almost watched it because of him.
Yeah.
Big Steve Zahn fan. All right.
We got a lot out of that episode, guys. Good job.
Good job. And thanks for everyone who joined us in the chat. 7 people. 7 people in the chat. And most stuck around the whole time.
Oh, before I forget, one last thing related to International Assassin. I read all of Rose's notes, and they were fantastic.
I move right now that she comes back for 307.
She can have my seat anytime, but she had. I will say one thing. She had noted something that was brilliant that we all missed, which or maybe somebody said it, but I didn't hear it. Where they're pointing out that Kevin had an injury in his hand, right?
Right.
And the comment about Neosporin, right? She made a reference back to season 1, Amy, talking about Neosporin after where Kevin's hand was bit by the
fake Amy,
the dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was also in the scene where the security guard says, "Make like Jesus." So there's definitely a reference there. Like we might be reading way too much into this, but where he looks at his hand, and it would be almost like a reference to the stigmata, right? And again, might be reading way too much into this, but it's almost like foreshadowing of Jesus rising from the dead, and the theme of season 3, right?
What's an injury on the hand with Jesus? Wouldn't it be because there's?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay,
and then
all
it
right.
healed the stigmata.
Okay.
Did Jesus not have Neosporin?
No, but I guess they look at his hands.
He had a powerful dad.
So
Was he
anyways,
screaming on a plane? My dad has $2 million.
I enjoyed her notes immensely. So
I would like to get her back for the most powerful man in the world and his identical twin brother.
Does she hate that one too?
I don't know, but it's the same kind of one. So
okay. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back next Monday for this. I almost said series finale. The season finale of season 2. And some might say it's the best episode of television in television history. I probably won't say that, but it's a very decent episode. All right, guys.
See you later.
We're out.
Thanks for coming.
bye.